What's up, y'all? Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Figuring Shit Out podcast, or the F.S.O pod. It's your girl, Leah. And today, we're going to be talking about being intentional. Just jumping straight into it. Straight into it. Once again, I want to give a few quick disclaimers. You might hear a little bit of weird noises in the background. You might not. If you don't, then that means that I'm doing pretty good with my editing. All right. But you might hear I have my diffuser going back. Ooh, excuse me. Little burp. Sorry, but I have my diffuser going right now, so you might hear like the little sound of that. You also might hear like some cars and stuff going by in the background. I've given this disclaimer multiple times. It's also a little cool in here. It's a little cold. I got the heater going. You might hear that going on in the background. But either way, I'm going to do my best to go ahead and mellow all that out. Hopefully, it ain't in the way. So yeah, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into this topic. I am really excited to give my 2 cents and to do some yip yapping with y'all. So as usual, I'm just sharing my personal opinion and my perspective that nobody asked for and probably nobody cares about, but I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. If you're a returning listener or you're hearing me for the first time, I want to start it off with saying thank you. I appreciate you for tuning in. So go ahead, grab your snacks, grab your loofah with your soap, put your feet up. Whatever you do when you're listening to your favorite podcast, sit back and go ahead and listen to me talk my ish. All right, y'all. So as I said before, man, I will also give another disclaimer as well. This ain't scripted, y'all. This ain't scripted. Nothing about this podcast is scripted. I've said it before in multiple different episodes. I may have little notes and things like that and little kind of tidbits and cliff notes and things like that I'll have pulled up and stuff like that. However, this is not scripted. Everything is just off the dome. Whatever I'm feeling, whatever comes to mind is what I share. That's one of the biggest aspects of this particular podcast, man. I want it to just be as real and raw and authentic to myself as possible. So yeah. So with that being said, let's jump into it. So the first few episodes, probably like 3 or 4 episodes of the very, very first season of the podcast, were all kind of, I feel like probably fit like the theme of today's topic, which is being intentional. And I probably maybe should have sprinkled this in that season somewhere, seeing as episodes were being single, being alone, being lonely, things like that. But I didn't. And I'm going to talk about it now. So let's get to it, y'all. So first, I do want to get started with the definition of intentional. And the definition of intentional is done by intention or design. And to give a definition for intention, the definition of that would be, there's a couple of them that I'm going to read because I kind of like the way, like I like the way that they're worded. So the first one is what one intends to do or bring about. And then the second one is a determination to act in a certain way, right? Now, I am not going to speak for the whole generation. I'm not going to speak for all 30-something-year-olds. I'm not going to speak for all lesbians. I'm going to speak for me. Me and myself and I, that's the only person I can't speak for. So that's what we're going to do. I try to do everything with intent. And I also try to be very intentional with the way that I move and very clear with my intention as well. Prime example will be like dating. I date with intent. I do not date because I'm bored, because I just want to pass the time, because, you know what, it might be a little fun. I ain't really got nothing else to do. I don't do that. I don't do that. I date with particular goals in mind, and I'm working towards those goals. And if I meet someone and we align in certain aspects or we align in certain places, I will definitely try to work towards those same goals with that person. Now, if it doesn't work out, cool, go our separate ways, call it a day. Nothing but respect for you. Keep it pushing, right? I've learned that not a lot of people do that. Not a lot of people date with intent. A lot of people date for some of those very reasons that I named off earlier, not wanting to be alone, not wanting to be single, just, they're bored, they just kind of want to pass the time a little bit, they kind of want the attention, they want to give someone else the attention, whatever the case may be. And I feel like the older I'm getting, the more that I'm understanding that intention is very, very important, right? Bring it back to cheating, for example. I hate when I hear the excuse being, oh, well, I didn't intend to cheat. Like, I didn't intend to hurt you, whatever. Let's start from the very beginning, right? I'm a firm believer in whatever your intentions are, right? Whatever you want to make clear, whatever goal you're trying to accomplish, whatever it is you're trying to do, whatever your intention is for a situation or for a person, whatever. Everything that you do and say and how you move in regards to that person or situation should make your intentions very, very clear, right? So cheating is steps, right? There's steps to the process of cheating. And I'm talking about physically cheating, because there's multiple different ways to cheat. Well, not multiple, but, if you want to get technical, there's 3 ways. There's obviously physically cheating, emotional cheating, mental cheating. Or if you count emotional and mental together, which I kind of do, there's 2 different ways to cheat on someone, and that's like emotionally / mentally, and then obviously the physical way. There's a lot that goes into the process of cheating on someone, and for this particular example, I'm going to use the physical cheating, right? You got to talk to this person. You have to, in some way, shape, or form, have some kind of connection. Like, even if it's a superficial, very shallow connection, like, you have to have some kind of connection with this person, right? Then you have to entertain this person by talking to them. Whether it's super shallow, superficial, doesn't matter. You have to communicate with this person. You have to express certain things to this person. And then at some point, you also have to express interest, right? You're not going to cheat on someone if they don't show interest in you, or if you're not showing interest in them. If your intentions are, hey, I got a man, I got a woman, I ain't looking at you like that, I ain't worried about you like that, like, it's not like that, then the way that you deal with that person is going to reflect that. It's going to reflect the fact that I ain't looking to cheat on my man, I'm not looking to cheat on my woman, I don't want to cheat, that's not what I do, it's not my intention, whatever, right? Now, once certain things start happening, like attractions are expressed or whatever, and then you have to do things like the physical aspect of, like, actually, like, kissing them, touching them. What else is involved with physically cheating on somebody, right? Like, you have to partake in those things, and those are very intentional acts. Like, you don't accidentally make out with somebody. Despite the contrary. Like, a lot of people were like, well, it was an accident, I didn't mean to sleep with her, I didn't mean to sleep with him, I didn't know. Shut up. Like, you don't accidentally make out with somebody. You don't accidentally fall in someone's genitals on accident. You don't accidentally fall on someone else's genitals. Like, it's not how it works. Like, it's a set process of intentional moves and intentional decisions that leads you up to the final act of cheating, right? So intention is everything. Now, I do believe that obviously intention can be misconstrued depending on the circumstances. Like, I'm someone that I will be clear about my intentions. I will be like, hey, look, this is not what my intention is. I'm not intending for it to sound this way. I'm not intending to come off this way. I'm not intending to, present this particular, like, aspect or anything. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do. So I want to be clear with that, right? Like, I will do that because I know that, again, intention is it's easy, very, very easy to misconstrue what somebody says, especially depending on the circumstances. Like, if you're texting about something instead of talking face to face, it's easy to be like, oh, well, this motherfucker's being an asshole. When in reality, no, It's just maybe the way they were texting, or maybe they were texting you, but then they were also like in the middle of trying to work too. So they're trying to send this text super quick. And so they're not fully invested in like, you know, making sure that they're wording things correctly, or they're saying certain things a certain way. Like, you know, they can't be overly intentional with what they're trying to convey to you because they got other stuff going on. So they're just trying to get this across to you. And then that's that, right? Leading through life with intent, I feel like can go a very, 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 very long way. If you make decisions and you make choices that are very clear of whatever your end game is, whatever your end result is, you will see progress. You know, it's like, again, with your career, you progress in your career. If your intention is, hey, I want to at some point be in a managerial position, right? And you start somewhere, and your intention while you're there, like your intention is, hey, for this company, I want to be in a managerial position. I want to make manager, you know, or a head manager, district manager, whatever. Like, that's what I want to do. I want to be a district manager. All right, cool. Everything that you do from that point on should service you at some point getting into that district manager position, right? You have to move with intent. So everything that you do at your job now, you have to be intentional. You have to be like, okay, well, this is my end goal. I want to be up here. I know right now I'm here. I can get up there, but in order to get there, I got to make this decision. I got to do this decision. I got to pick this kind of work. I got to do this kind of work. I got to show that I can manage these kinds of jobs. I can do this. I can do that. I can do this. I can do that. And then eventually you will see yourself in that position that you want to see yourself in, right? But it's all about intent. If you go to work and your intention is just, look, man, I just need money. I don't really give a damn. Like, my job's cool and everything, but I'm straight. Like, I'm chilling. Cool. Then you'll probably be, I'm straight, I'm chilling for however long, right? Because there's no intent, right? You're just there to work. You're literally the only purpose that you're there is to make a paycheck, right? Like, your intention isn't to try to become the new VP or the CEO or to do this and do that and do this and do that, right? And yeah, you know, so like I said, you know, I hope that the message came across pretty clear in this, you know, episode. I hope the examples I gave made sense. Here's the thing. Everything makes sense in my head. And then when I say it out loud, it still feels like it makes sense. But then I'm also like, I'm not my own consumer. You know what I mean? Like, so it makes sense to me, but doesn't make sense to the people who are listening to me. And that's what matters. So, anyway, once again, if you listen to this whole little mini yip rant session, I appreciate you a lot. And yeah, man, with that, we're going to go ahead and end it. You know, just try to be intentional with everything you do. Also another little point I want to make as well is intention. You know, and intention goes a long way. You know, I've dealt with people and I've been in certain situations and scenarios where, you know, things maybe didn't play out the way that I wanted them to. However, I knew what the person's intentions in the situation were. So there wasn't any, you know, like there was no bad blood. It wasn't like I didn't take the situation a negative way. I didn't take it in a you know, a slight towards myself or something like that. Like I was very understanding. Like I knew, like I understood, you know, I understood where they were coming from, and, you know, we were able to keep it pushing and, you know, keep it moving, you know. So again, intention is everything. And if you are clear with your intention, then a lot of the times things will work out in the best way possible. Because that's the thing too. Sometimes you can't control how people will take things. Perception is key. I have an episode on that as well. But perception is everything also. And sometimes people are just going to take things the way that they want to take them. Your intention included. You know, your intention can be, hey, this is not how I'm trying to come off. This is not the message that I'm trying to portray. Like, please don't take it that way. And they can still be like, nah, screw that. I'm taking it this way. Or what do you mean by that? And then it's like, okay, well, my intention is irrelevant at this point because you want to believe whatever you want to believe. And again, that's on other people. You can't control how they perceive things. You can't control how they take things. But always just make sure that the way that you move in life is honest to yourself. Make sure that you are clear with your intentions. Make sure that you are upfront. And everything else is just going to play out the way that it plays out. all you can do is just be responsible for yourself and take accountability for yourself. And with that, y'all, we can go ahead and wrap it up, y'all. So, live love and love life. Be kind. Until next time, y'all.